are back in Anima, Gate of Memories. So where we last left off, we did the Mansion of Puppets, and we are going into the Cathedral. I forgot what exactly this place is called, but I'm hoping it'll get mentioned in a moment. So I've been over here already. I've opened the shortcut. I was planning on putting in the first time I went through here, but the fact of the matter is the platforming here sucks, and unfortunately the Cathedral has a lot of platforming to be found there. So there is an item to be found over there where I had the camera momentarily. I was looking up because you're going to need to go up high in the Cathedral, so I already knew to start scouting in high locations on my way here. As for this device, I don't know what it does as of my playing, but when you enter the Cathedral, you will find out what those are all for. It plays an incredibly important role for getting Jonathan Kappel's final memory, which you'll see in the fourth video, I want to say. Well, I'll explain how I planned on doing these in a second. But for right here, when I was doing this the first time, I got thrown off very significantly because the camera moves when you land, if you haven't noticed. Hit this to open the shortcut, by the way. And once you've beaten Naskel and cleared the Mansion of Puppets, you can then open this door and go in. Okay, so my plans are the very first video was getting into the tower. Second video is the first wing. Third video is the second wing. Fourth video is the third wing. And then the fifth video, I want to go back and get all of the previous memories and stuff like that.
A Hydra?
And an ancient brood mother to boot. Back in the day, I wanted some as pets, but I never had the time to look for them.
I hear you.
Sadly, I believe you.
What can we say? Ergo's a man of taste. So as I was saying, the fifth video I want to go back and get all of the memories and stuff. A person left a comment asking about the Naskel memories I didn't get. I explained that you get one from the puppet, you get the memory up there when you get the ability to interface with those various objects. Yeah, I cut out when I was looking around trying to figure out how to open that, but we'll come back. And then there's also the whole fifth Jonathan memory, which is supposed to be the hardest one to get in the game. It's just, you have to do a little out-of-the-way searching. And I know there's also a prisoner key I missed back there, but that's why I was jumping around trying to figure out, is there a way to actually reach that just yet? And the answer is not yet. So right here we have a bit of a boss fight. The way I have things set up, the bearer is the ideal character for this because she's my spell user. Now, in order to deal the most damage to the Hydra Queen, you want to focus these little Hydra heads. Whenever you take one down, she takes a large chunk of damage. It does not matter if you focus fire them or not because they don't heal until they actually come back up. And you'll notice by taking one of those down, she takes a large chunk of damage, much more than you take if you actually just shoot her in the face. So as a result, this fight is purely just me jumping around shooting, because I can't get over there to reach them, just have Ergo smack them around. So I have to play to my strengths. Now, the bearer's magic spell on ground is stronger than her one in the air, so if I know I'm not going to get hit, I'm free to actually just use that one instead. The advantage jumping in the air, of course, is that you get to move around a little bit, you can fall, which will potentially move you out of the way of a fireball. But anyway, now that we cleared all the small heads, you'll notice that the ones I defeated before will start to respawn. And without them around to provide some harass, the main head is a lot more vulnerable. And this is kind of a lame fight, to be honest. There's supposed to be a glitch where you can bypass this entire thing, but I don't really see a reason to. It's pretty much just free money and EXP. As long as you spec bearer into magic casting, of course, or even Ergo. It's just, if you have magic, you can get by. Anyway, those are my plans for the video. Next few, at least. That fifth video is also going to include me getting to the upper floors, because you have to go through a mini dungeon and fight a Noth Queen-like boss to actually get there. And just in case you're wondering, as of this video recording, I have not killed Jonathan Kappel just yet, but I mean, when I record this. When I'm talking now, yeah, I'm already on the next set of floors, but here we go.
Those statues. Lady Ellie and I? She sure is popular.
Wow, was that a joke?
Shut up.
Now, if you look at your map, you'll notice Erynnes in the corner there.
Lady Ellie and I.
Hi, bearer of the annoying book. I'm glad to see you again, safe and sound.
How are you, Ellie? The last time we saw you, you seemed to be in some kind of trouble.
Worried?
No, I know how difficult you are to kill firsthand. And everyone knows that it took a manifestation of hell itself just to knock you out for a while.
Lady Ellie and I. Lord Romeo Exet was able to contact us. We have our orders. All our forces are outside, while we need to destroy certain creatures.
Little Romeo is involved too. This is as serious as I thought. He thinks that it is the prophecy, right? The one that my sister foretold. The messengers of the end. If that's the case, it means that once all of them are reunited, it would trigger the end of the world. But something is wrong. I feel it. I will try to talk with Romeo, if I'm able to manifest myself outside.
Why are you in this place?
Honestly, I have no idea. My manifestations are too chaotic. I can't even move freely around here. I'm limited to stay in some rooms. Once I've regained enough strength, I will manifest again in the center of the core room, and from there, I will try to explore other places to see what I can discover. If you need something, I will be there from now on.
So that's her telling you that she's going to be in the lobby. Now, there is a prison key in the corner. I don't actually realize the easier way to access it, and I'm just going to face tank it with Ergo, I think. By the way, if you're building the characters like I am, and you're going to start swinging at enemies, you want to be Ergo. Like so. Now, they have the ability to block to a certain degree. You have a few ways to get through it, but basically you just need to use a breaker technique. And one thing I noticed here is that I was hoping if you use the shoulder dash, you could at least travel in some degree of an arc, but no, it causes you to travel in a straight line, which kind of sucks. So right there I knocked him in the air so I could pummel him without having to worry about interference from the other one. By the end of the video, I'm actually going to remove the launcher attack from my combo in favor of a buff. Right back there is the prison key. Now there are locked doors around here. The key to actually opening those is found at the other side of the room. There will be 3 of those little globe things, and the order you hit them in will determine which door is unlocked. That will take you to different parts of the cathedral, which will hold memories of Damn, I can't remember the guy's name here. Thing is, since you don't find him, I don't actually remember his name. If you notice, I went around this the wrong way. If you go the other way, clockwise, you should be able to get through that without taking any damage at all. But if you remember, I left this up. So I can just come over here and get health. Now, the boss fight is on the right side, if I remember correctly, but you need the ability to interface with those devices in order to access it. That can be found by hitting these 3 globes in a specific order. There's one hidden right there, and then if you look at the angel statues up on the wall, they hold the other 2. Or maybe those are supposed to be the Grimoire sisters or something. You need to hit these in different orders to unlock the different spots, and from there you can advance. So, I'll see you guys in a sec.
People say everything that inhabits the world has a destined fate long before it exists. If that's true, there was a reason why Ramatek Ui Del Lux would never know the relaxed life that was meant for him as the eldest child of a noble family of the highest rank. He was just 4 years old when he was sent by his father to the Cathedral of Erynnes. For centuries, the ancient building received the firstborn children of some of the most important bloodlines, unique lineages endowed with exceptional qualities. The cathedral was not an academy, nor anything similar. Its inhabitants could never leave the premises. Once there, those great doors would never let them leave. The children, and of course Ramatek, would take a long time to understand the reason they were held there. Erynnes was unique, perhaps the most important place in the world. It was a cathedral in name only. No worship took place there. It was a prison for a creature that none of them could understand.
Baby? There's something I have to tell you. There's a library card in the back of me, and I'm long overdue.
Just shut up, please.
So right here we have a mini-boss
That's
of
the Nexus
sorts.
Guardian, babe. Keepers of primordial supernatural cores. I wonder what it could be protecting.
So if you want to fight this guy, you need him to drop his flame shield. And there are a couple different ways of doing it. But your success here comes to recognizing his patterns. When he pulls his sword back around waist level, that's when he's going to do that 3-beam projection attack he's doing right there. When he pulls it upward, that's when he's going to do the horizontal swipe. And then if you can get close to him, he'll do that pillar, and once he does the pillar, he's vulnerable. So you see me dash in there with Ergo, then I jump back. And basically I need to stay kind of close to him in order to get him to use that pillar. He is vulnerable for a second after using his various sword techniques. As you saw, I hit him there for a little bit of chip damage. And I have to warn you not to get hit by his pillar. In case you're wondering, that hits me for like 2/3 of my health. So if I'm not above that 2/3 point, that's pretty much an insta-kill. Now right here with the bearer, I show the vulnerability he has after his sword techniques. So I'm able to hit him for a little bit of chip damage here and there. And if you're wondering why I'm staying up in the air a little bit, it makes me completely invulnerable to his horizontal swipe. The only one that can get me is the vertical one. And in the event I actually use the air beam, whatever you want to call that move right there, it gives me a little bit more hang time to avoid his attacks. Now, unfortunately, you may have noticed a few seconds ago I actually tried to trade with him there because they say you can deflect enemies' attacks with your own or destroy them, something like that. But if you notice, every serious enemy in this game seems to have priority over you when it comes to attacks. If your attack hits theirs, theirs obliterates yours and then continues on its way, which is kind of disappointing. It would have been kind of interesting if our 2 attacks canceled each other out or something, but no. Now, a lot of enemies in the game are vulnerable to this type of spam that you see me using here, that I also used on the Hydra. And since Ergo heals while I'm using the bearer, I decided to switch over to him and have him do the finishing touch. Right there's the pillar, and down he goes.
Babe, the Guardian, he had something different. I noticed it when I absorbed its existence. A magic formula codex. Very primitive, but linked to the seals of this place.
Add the formula to our magic. With any luck, it'll resonate with the seals in this place. Maybe we'll be able to activate them now.
And with that, we can now access the entirety of the Cathedral, and you need this ability to get Jonathan Kappel's final memory. Basically, there's a secret door that you need to activate with this, and that'll give you an item that you need to take to a place which will then allow you to get the final one. But otherwise, 4 of his are easily accessed, and you will see them in the Jonathan Kappel video in case you're wondering. What I was wondering at the time is if there was a difference between fighting an enemy with 4 memories, fighting an enemy with 3. I have yet to fight one with 5, because I don't know if you can actually access all 5 memories before fighting someone. You might be able to do it on this guy if you backtrack, and I imagine you could probably do it for Nazgul if you free the correct prisoner and actually knew the Rubitus password. So I'm going to jump ahead before providing a little bit more commentary. So I'm cutting out the middle footage there, but that was my grand platforming experiment in case you're wondering. So there is a world of difference between platforming between the bearer and Ergo, and if you're having problems with segments like this, my best advice to you is switch over to the bearer because platforming is a lot easier for her. If you're wondering what the difference between the two is, watch how Ergo lands, right here. He comes to a complete stop, he has to return to his normal height before he can even start moving again. As such, you're wasting precious time, and as such, that platform could completely disappear before you are able to move again.
Ramatek felt as captive as the thing the inhabitants of Erynnes were guarding. As a child, he found it truly difficult to understand why he should devote his whole life to becoming a jailer. He cared little that the prisoner, which they called the Entity, could bring about the end of the world. How could Ramatek want to protect a world that he had not even been able to know? All of these concerns were at the forefront of his mind, while he was driven with the other children to the inner containment chambers. When the huge sealed doors opened, Ramatek beheld for the first time the appearance of the prisoner. It was a huge lump of meat that did not even remotely resemble a humanoid form. He had read that it was the remains of an ancient deity, the body of an unholy god who died trying to reach the world.
So yeah, not sure if you noticed, but the voice acting does not completely match up with the words. They must have changed the script at some point. But going back to the tension of platforming, the bear has no downtime after jumping. She can continue running as if she never jumped in the first place. As such, she's able to platform much more quickly, accurately, and everything else than Ergo, and I will show this for the next platforming segment where I will use the bear and you can see how smooth the entire ordeal is. In the meantime, I need to deal with these things. In case you're wondering, the appearance of these things does mean Ramatek is no longer among the living. So who's going to be the boss of the area, you ask? Well, you'll see.
Hey, baby! Just a reminder, the view from back here is great! No buts about it!
So right here I'm going to show the other aspect of platforming in a moment. So just in case you forgot how Ergo moved, he jumps, comes to a complete stop, stands up, then moves. The bearer, on the other hand, notice how she doesn't crouch down after jumping. She lands on her feet and she's able to keep moving. The other advantage using her here, of course, is since she's a better ranged attacker than Ergo in my game, I can kill those things pretty easily for EXP and money. But in a moment, we are going to have to pick up the pace as we move towards that memory over there. So you notice that she jumps, it's so much quicker than Ergo. And for segments where you do have to worry about the platforms disappearing from underneath you, she is by far the best pick to use. So here we go. They're going to come in quick succession. And your reward for getting through all this is another Ramatech memory.
Another strong impact shook the central structure of the cathedral. The attack was more powerful than the previous one, which meant it was just a matter of time until they would surpass Erynnes' mystical defenses. Somehow, these creatures had discovered the existence of the sanctuary and its prisoner. Those who lurk in the shadows had lost their leader not long ago, and they probably thought that the entity sealed in the cathedral would allow them to rise against the world for a second time. Ramatech had lived his whole life within these walls. Despite his childish reticence, he had come to love them as much as he loved all the people who were at his side. It was ironic that only now, when everything was in danger, he realized his true feelings. The priest was not a normal person and was perfectly trained. Acting swiftly, he went to the chambers where the prisoner was locked and began diverting part of the supernatural power of the seals to the external protections of the building. It was a risky move, but would allow Erynnes to resist the attack with minimal effort. Just an instant before the system was activated, a huge explosion destroyed the entire cathedral, causing the whole place to come down, crushing Ramatech and everything around him.
Now this is the first Doan I'm going to show on video, but I fought them before and as such I know their weakness, if you can call it that. Since the enemy is so tall, the weak spot is actually the upper half of its body, whatever you want to think of it as. So you need to actually go for that. You have to jump in order to attack it. In the event you just try to swing from the bottom, you actually don't damage it at all. So the hard part here, of course, is trying to hit it without the peanut gallery there chiming in any way. The Doan itself isn't really that hard here. I'm actually much stronger than I was when I first fought one, so it went much more quickly than it did before.
That seal. The entrance won't be open much longer. We need to destroy the barrier quickly.
Two more. One more.
I know. It's him again.
It's too late for Ramatek. I have already destroyed it. You won't be able to reclaim it now.
So you can talk after all. Who are you? Are you one of the messengers?
You are the ones who call me that, but yes, I suppose that you could say that I am one of them.
Are you the one behind all of this? The one who brought us to the tower?
Maybe you really don't know anything. Maybe you are just another pawn. But even then, it doesn't matter. You must be stopped. Your world won't be saved.
You monster.
Enough. We don't have time. This place won't hold itself much longer without Ramatek around.
You leave her out of this. I'm sorry. I know that you want the cool guy spot in this drama. You even brought your own attire. Nice coat, by the way. But the role is already taken.
Dark Messiah, I'm afraid that letting her out won't be possible.
You really don't know who you are messing with, boy.
Let's end this. Your story.
So at long last we get to settle things with this guy. Right here I'm using my buff, so as a result I have enhanced ki regeneration, which is incredibly important here, and then increased physical damage. So you'll have to forgive me because in order to deal with this guy you have to move at high speed the way I fight. So basically when you see him fade back like that, he's going to appear above you and try to drop down on you. When he does that, I immediately pop the dodge in order to put some distance between me and him, and then once he lands on the ground, I pop the dash to actually jump in his face and just start pummeling him. Depending on how the angles work, sometimes I can follow up with a combo after that. You'll see sometimes it breaks away. But the big thing here is I'm trying to avoid damage because this is a 3-stage fight pretty much. So right there is the end of the first stage, and I switched to the bear because she's better at dodging too, just like she is at platforming. But basically, once these things are... it's kind of hard to judge the distance, but once they reach that one point you see, I immediately push the dodge. And then once he moves, immediately dodge again because he's going to try to drop down on you. Now to give Ergo a little bit more time to heal, I'm using the bear, and I figure I'm just going to use some ranged spell spam. You have to worry about when he fades away because he is going to drop down on top of you. The one thing that does suck is since the bear seems to be a little bit faster than Ergo when it comes to dodging. And the significance of that is sometimes you'll move fast enough to where he'll actually drop down at where you're going to finish rather than where you started at. It may not seem like too much, but it really does make a world of difference. So I'm not sure what entirely decides what move he's going to do exactly, whether he's going to fade away or follow up with something else. And while you notice I don't really stagger him, I believe with that final hit, if you actually had a launcher attacking your combo, you could take him into the air for a few more extra hits. It's just, in case he can teleport from up there, it's not worth the risk because you don't really dodge in air. I did pick up the aerial dodge move, but all that is a move downwards, which is basically the exact same trajectory he travels. The move does nothing. That's pretty much all it comes down to. All in all, it definitely was not worth the skill point, I can say in retrospect. But anyway, this is no different than the previous part, but it marks the end of the second phase and the third and final phase. So once again, I'm going to have the bear spam for a little bit while Ergo heals. You can see he's using his range attack since I am putting some distance between me and him. I am using my aerial combo to give me hang time in the air so that I can avoid some of his stuff. And I wanted to get the, yeah, he missed right there. The buff out, but I couldn't before he interrupted me. I don't know if putting another point into it gives it faster casting or what. So right here I popped a healing item. All in all, I can kind of afford to use those. I don't remember if Jonathan forces me to use a second one, but I also use one against him. Now the thing that you have to keep in mind about the healing items is that they work the same they do as in League of Legends, Dota, and pretty much any MOBA I've ever played, in that they don't give you a full amount of health just right off the bat. Instead, they provide you with a regen for a period of time. Right there, he's down.
This place! It can't hold itself together anymore!
You were saved by the bell, pal.
And so, the story goes on for you. Just a little more. Girl, you should wonder if you really want to become an instrument of salvation.
What? The dream becomes more lucid. The little girl is inside the huge room. There's nothing there. Only a strange book, hanging from the walls wrapped in old chains. Everything has become silent outside. And for a moment, the child thinks that maybe she's finally found a safe place to hide. But she also feels that she is not alone. Slowly, the little girl extends her small arm towards the book. Darkness, wrath, loneliness. Everything that fills the place comes from it, and she feels that that book is also lost. Before her little fingers reach the cover, the sound of the door opening behind her makes the child freeze in terror. One of them has found her. And again, the dream becomes a nightmare. Again? This is becoming repetitive.
Yeah, it's losing its edge. Are you okay, baby? You seem to be having a pretty awful dream.
You can bet it was bad. You were in it. And I already told you I don't need you to worry about me.
That's the spirit.
Hi again. I'm happy to see that you're okay. I am trying to manifest myself in other rooms, but it's far more complex than I thought. So far, there's only one thing I'm sure of. Some messengers are already on the upper floors, but we are unable to reach them. This place has its own rules. It's not something as easy as simply jumping over there. There must be some way to open the seals that block the entrance to the second floor.